Good evening, everyone. Can everyone hear me loud and clear? All right. My name is Jiale. Jiale is a Chinese name. It stands for happy family in Chinese. All right. Now it's 9:45 p.m. in Singapore, and I just want to say good evening. I'm supposed to put my boy to sleep. My boy is 1 year old now. But here with you, I'm very excited to share with you the mindset behind the attraction game. Thanks, Marcelo, for the great introduction. I first began the social media journey back in 2015, and I'm in this business now for 8 years. And I think what helped me a lot to get me to where I am today is the mindset behind that I want to convert my business to an attraction game rather than a hunting game. You know, hunting for something or chasing for something is always a very tiring process. But who wants to, who doesn't want their clients to come to them, and buy insurance from them? And I think I'm in a very privileged position to be in that right now. And I'd like to share with you my journey, how I get there. And hopefully, you can spin off some attraction game for yourself as well. So let me begin. First of all, disclaimer, I just want to say that I'm not an expert at social media. I just have a few more years of experience as compared to most people because I started, I started experimenting earlier. All right, so I'm definitely not an expert. I'm an expert at financial planning, but I'm not an expert in social media. Okay. Number two, these are just my personal experiences, and they may or may not apply to you. But nevertheless, even if they don't apply to you, I hope you can take the essence out of this sharing and be able to create something that's tailored to your own. All right. And last but not least, whatever I'm going to share with you are just reminders to myself as well. All right. So without further ado, let me begin my sharing. Okay, I'm going to start off with sharing this story about a village. All right. So this village has their water source on the top of the mountain. And one fine day, two boys came of age to help the village to share water, to fetch water from the mountaintop. All right. So the village head say, hey, you know what, village boy A, I think it's time for you to, help us to fetch water. So why not you do what you can to fetch water for us? So village boy A thinks that the best way to fetch water was to literally run up and down the mountain on days on end with two pails, okay, to fetch water. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, that's the quickest way to fetch water, right? To literally go up and down with two pails and coming down with water for immediate needs of the village. But two words come to my mind if I think of that long term, because now this young boy is young, and so he has a lot of energy for him to, go up and down the mountain, run up and down the mountain, come down with two pails of water. But what if one day he becomes not so strong anymore? One day he becomes older and he doesn't have that much energy. All right, then what happens? All right, or what happens when he falls ill? What happens when he doesn't feel like doing it anymore? Okay, and what I want to share with you, the two words will be, what if burnout happens? That's number one. Okay, and what if it is not sustainable? And so what happens is that this is what I call the the hunting process. You are literally using your own effort, okay, days on end, to go out there and try to hunt for clients, try to fetch water back. But this process, when you're young now, you have a lot of energy, you can do that. But once you get older, or once you're more senior in this business, do you still want to go out there and look for clients, look for prospects, hunt for people, chase after sales? I don't think so. So village boy B came up with better idea. All right. So village boy B thinks that the best way to fetch pails of water is still to go up and down days on end with pails of water. Okay. But on his spare time, on his free time, or rather he split his time between fetching pails of water physically and trying to build a pipeline all the way from the mountaintop to water source down to his village. And so what happens is that he knows that this process is not overnight. True? This process of building the pipeline takes years, not just months, not just days, but years. All right. But he knows that in order for him to have the water flowing automatically down from the water source back to the village, he needs to start right now. All right. So while he fetches the pails of water, because the villagers need the water immediately, all right, which is equivalent to you need the source of income. Okay. So when you start off, when you're young in this business, you have no choice but to go out there and look for clients, to prospect for clients. That is true. But on the side, can you already start to build your pipeline like this village boy B, so that when one fine day, the pipeline is done, okay, water will just start flowing down automatically to your village, which means that once you have built your brand in this business so strong and so well known, people will just come down to you. People will just make a beeline for you and want to buy insurance from you. Does it make you feel excited? Now, this is the process that I've created for myself, and I want to say that this can really happen. This can come to a reality if you know what to do. And I'm going to share with you my journey, and hopefully it can inspire you to do the same. All right, let me move on. Like what Gary Vaynerchuk famously says, sales can last 3 months, but brand can last 3 generations. And so, you see the village boy A using his own physical effort to, fetch pails of water, which may not last very long, okay, but a brand or a pipeline once built can last you for 3 generations. All right, and Gary Vaynerchuk is one of my favorite mentor. I listen to his podcast almost every single day and learn a lot from him. And so tip number 1, if you want to learn more about the attraction game, I think you should go to Spotify and listen to Gary Vaynerchuk. All right, now like I said, I started my attraction journey back in 2012. Or rather, I'm in this business for 8 years. I started my attraction journey in 2015. But back in 2012 to 2014, I was doing exactly what everyone else was doing, which is number 1, cold calling. All right. I'm sure no one here looks forward to do cold calling. No one jumps out of the bed wanting to say, "Hey, I want to do cold calls today." No. So did I. I can make 100 cold calls and maybe only fix 3 appointments and maybe only get to meet one of them. And I'm not sure of the rate of closure. And so I'm really not good at cold calling. Street canvassing is what we refer to here in Singapore as going out there and do surveys. When we do surveys, we will try to lead the prospect into an appointment, and that's where we will present to them. Door knocking is to go from door to door and to try to use a sales idea to get into their house and try to present to them and try to close the sale. And of course, you know what roadshow means. You have a booth in the shopping malls, and then you try to stop people and then try to sit them down and try to talk to them about savings, try to talk to them about insurance. And so these are what I refer to as the traditional methods of prospecting methods that have worked well back in Brian Tracy times. But I'm not sure if it works as well in today's time. Definitely not in Singapore. People are jaded by all these methods because they tend to interrupt people, halfway through the activity. All right, they tend to be not so welcomed, all right, in today's time and age. And so, but as a rookie, I didn't know better. I was coached to do prospecting this way, and so I did my prospecting this way. Of course, my passive business did not go more than 5 that year or that few years, all right? So as you can see at the top, passive business was less than 5, all right? And I think that, this is the reason why we face these challenges is because we think that we are angels, and, insurance is really a very noble business. When someone is sick or someone passes away, everyone else will take money from the family, but we are the only people that would give big checks, to the family members in times of need. And I really think that this is a very beautiful and noble job that we have. But the sad truth is that that's only our thinking, because everyone else just thinks that we are cockroaches. All right, they will shun us, when they see us on the streets, or when we go networking events and we say that we are financial advisors. Game over. You can go home. You don't need to network anymore. People will just run away from you because they assume that you want to sell something to them. And that's a harsh truth, but I would like to reverse that. I would like to switch the position around, and we'll see how we do that. All right. So how I started the attraction game journey is because I keep running out of leads. Prospecting is a lifeline in our business, and if we run out of leads, we run out of income for our family, and so we cannot have that happening. But I keep running out of leads. It's very frustrating to know that, this month you have a good month this month, but next month you are wondering who to meet, and that scares you. You receive a big paycheck, big commission for this month, but next month you are already worrying about what's it going to be like, how much am I going to make, and who am I going to meet, And so while you want to celebrate that you had a good month, you don't dare to fully celebrate because you are already worrying about next month. Who else feels the same way as I am? I'm sure everyone, I'm sure most people, not everyone, most people feels that way. And that was me, all right? And of course, I suck at those traditional methods of prospecting, like what I mentioned, the cold calling, door knocking, the road shows. I'm really not good at that. Maybe if I don't smile, I they feel like I want to, punch someone or want to kill someone. But like I just cannot sit people down, and I just cannot get people to, I just cannot open up the prospect while using the traditional methods of prospecting. And so I ditched that. And now, of course, last but not least, I started an attraction game or journey because I want to keep my clients warm. So clients that I have already onboarded, I want to keep them warm throughout the year. While we are looking for new prospects and new businesses, we have to bear in mind that our existing clients are still there. All right. And if we should neglect them and they would to, buy from someone else, then they become someone else's client. And so I want to make sure that while I am prospecting new businesses, bringing new businesses, signing up new clients, I need to make sure that I have to keep my existing clients warm enough. All right. And so in case they have been approached by other advisors, in case they want to buy something else, in case they have a milestone and they want to look for more insurance, they will think of me. Okay, so that's why I started the attraction journey. And so what is hunting? In my humble opinion, hunting means you look for people who are ready to buy, right? And now in a sea of people, there are people who are ready to buy, there are people who are not ready to buy at any given time and space. And so not everyone, is ready to buy insurance. Not everyone is ready to listen to you pitching about insurance. True? All right. If you pitch to someone at the wrong timing, then perhaps they would they'd be pissed off. They would turn you off. They would reject you. Generally, hunting process is like chasing after butterflies. It's never a sustainable activity. And so why not you move yourself from hunting to what I call attracting, which is using the same number of words, same words. You look for people who are ready to buy, you jumble them up, and it becomes people who are ready to buy look for you. Now, can we be like Apple, right? When Apple is going to launch Apple iPhone 12, and then you already expect long queues outside Apple Store. Can we be like Apple? The thing is, yes, we can, but we need to know how to. All right. And so this was my first attempt to create my attraction game. And I didn't know better how to or what to do. I only know that I need to put myself out there. All right. And so I started taking selfies, or rather, I started taking photos with my clients. So that was back in 6 November 2015. And can you see two awkward faces? These are two awkward faces. This is my relative, by the way, and it's still awkward. I tried to, ask him for a photo. So I got someone, one of the staff at Moss Burger to take a snapshot of us. It was incredibly uncomfortable, but I know that I have to do something different to stand out. I cannot do the same things and expect different results, right? What got the leaders here today, your leaders, what got them here today may not necessarily get us into the future. Okay, what got you here won't get you there. And so we need to innovate, we need to adapt to the current situation, the current state of consumers, all right? And then we evolve from there, create new ways to prospect. And so back in 2015, I thought that was the next best thing that I can do, which is to take photos with my clients. And it's more than just taking photos. It's about taking photos with him smiling. I mean, he's not smiling, but other clients I can see, as you can see, they're all smiling. All right. And it's to create a effect that, Jiale is doing a good job. All right. Is to create an effect that Jiale is doing a good job. And that if you want to look for insurance, you want to talk about insurance, you can look for Jiale. So I created my own hashtag called Jiale Financial Planning. All right. And in every photo, I will put hashtag Jiale Financial Planning, Jiale Happy Clients. I'll put insurance agent Singapore, financial planner, financial advisor. And so if people click onto the hashtags, they can, see these photos. And I evolved slowly to not only taking photos, but I also request for testimonials from them. All right. And so this is how I ask for testimonials. Hey, so and so, I would love to brand myself online. I would like to go into the social media space, and it would really mean the world to me if you think I've done a good job. Can you, leave some kind review, some good words for me on my Facebook page? All right, my Facebook page under the reviews tab. All right, and your words would mean the whole world to me. All right, and that's what I ask. That's how I ask, and they automatically, without any script or templates, they write their testimonials for me. And what I do is that I quote unquote their testimonials, and I tag them on Facebook together with this photo. And so what happens is that not only my friends get to see, my friends on Facebook get to see, but also their contacts on Facebook get to see as well. And so I'm trying to leverage on their contacts besides mine. All right, and I didn't say all these things, good things about myself. It's them. All right, and it's been endorsed by them. And so this is something that's very powerful. Right, back then in 2015, I'm sure it is still right now, if not many people are doing it. And after a few months of doing it, I started to see people coming to me for insurance. Long lost friends from my school days, they come to me and say, hey, I want to buy insurance from you. Friends that have not spoken to me in 5 to 10 years, they approached me because they saw all these testimonials one after another. And so I do it very consistently and very diligently. Okay, and as you can see on my Facebook page under Jiale Financial Planning, you can do a search. I've accumulated about 108 testimonials or recommendations, what Facebook has coined it now. Talking about recommendations, now your prospects are clever. They will click onto those contacts, and they will see if these testimonials are from true and legit people. If they are real people, they will. And once they scroll through real people testimonials, more or less half the battle is won. You already won them 50%, and the next time they approach you, you just have to create a good show. All right, provide a good service, and the client is almost yours. All right, and so this is my testimonials journey. And then so that was 6 November 2015. My passive business went up by a bit. All right, not too fantastic, but I kept going because I know ultimately, I will have fruits from this labor. All right, and what I did next was I started to create seminars. I called it a Kickstart Your Money seminar. I did not go to the university, so when in my third year or my fourth year, my friends were graduating from university, and so I thought, what a good time to gather all of them to talk to them about money, about finance, and about how to, handle their paychecks. And so I gathered a bunch of them, all right, about 30 packs of 3 different seminars, and I just spoke to them about investments. I teach them how to handle their money. And so these posters are created by myself on Canva. And so if you're not familiar with Canva, you should really check it out. canva.com. canva.com. All right, they can create incredibly very nice posters using templates. All right, and so this was what I did next. And so from selfies and testimonials, and after a while, the audiences, you can feel that they got bored and jaded of your selfies. Even myself, I got bored and jaded of my own selfies. And so I thought I should move on to the next thing. And the next thing was this investment seminar. So I did 3 rounds of them. All right, and the closing ratio was incredible because people view you as an authority instead of a commodity. Because there are so many financial advisors around, right? And if you are one and the same, why would people listen to you? But if you position yourself as a speaker now, as an speaker and an authority, then people would listen to you more. Even if you say the same words, right? People would listen to you more than if you are a commodity, or if they perceive you as a commodity. All right. And so that was my first seminar. And I would say the passive business, not too good, about less than 10. I didn't really measure specifically, but I have a good feeling that it never went more than 10. All right. And then I did my last seminar. Okay. As you can see, these group people, they're smiling. I was smiling as well, probably the brightest. But inside me, I was crying. The reason why I was crying is because I paid 1,500 for a marketing agency to bring these groups of 10 people down, and I closed 0 sales for this seminar. And so I was crying because I knew this was a bad decision. And I'm not gonna these people are not interested in what I'm trying to pitch to them. And then that got me thinking, like I ran out of friends to invite because I've only so many friends who are willing to come down, all right, and support me. And then next I have to invite, groups of strangers down using $1,005 to pay to a marketing agency, and then to end off with zero sales. That was devastating for me. I thought like I cannot continue this forever because 1,005 is still quite an amount. And then I thought to myself, hey, Jiale, if you look within yourself, look to yourself, the reason why people are not coming down to your, you're paying 1,005 to only fetch 10 groups of people down is because you don't have a brand yet. People don't know you, right? I'm sure if Tony Robbins were to pay the same marketing agency $1,005, tens of thousands of people would come down, all right? But today, you're not Tony Robbins. So suck it up. You have to be your brand. If you're a nobody, why would anybody want to come and see you? And so that clicked, all right? And that led to the next thing that I did, which is I started to film my own insurance videos. I started to, give my best advice for free, all right? Because there's a lot of misconceptions about how insurance works. There's a lot of, insurance is perceived as something very difficult to understand, very complicated. And to me, that isn't the case. And I want to make sure that people get it, get a clear understanding of insurance. I need to make sure that the layman understand what insurance represents. And so I did my first video, and that was March 8th, 2017. And so you can see, one thing led to another. It was initially selfie, followed by testimonials, and then seminars, and then a failed seminar. Okay, then that led to me thinking I should build a brand. And that was when I started to launch my first video. I call it the Money Map series. All right. And since then, oh yeah, I just want to make mention. I spent 2 hours to film a 2-minute video. It was never comfortable to film a video. All right. I have no prior experience filming. I'm shy looking into the camera. And I did a lot of NGs and retakes just to make sure that I look good on the camera. So that was 2 hours for a 2-minute video. It was harsh. It was harsh. And even for the seminar, I have no prior experience speaking in front of a group or crowd or public. And so I have to just bite the bullet and do it. All right. Everyone starts from somewhere, right? And so since then, I created a lot more videos. One thing about me is that I'm very consistent. If I know that something is going to work out, I will put my 110% into creating them. All right. And because not many people are doing that in Singapore. And so I would stand out a lot. And that's what I want. I want attention, because if you go where the attention is, you get the sales. All right. People will start to notice you. And when people have queries or when people want to buy insurance, they would think of you first. All right. And so that was my first Money Map video. Still, the passive business was not more than 10. Okay. And then I created the next 62 Money Map videos over the course of the next about 2.5 years to 3 years. All right. And like what Marcelo has introduced me just now, I won the Third Asia Trusted Life Agents and Advisors Award under the Digital Agent of the Year category. All right. And that gave me huge validation that I'm on the right track, because I'm one of the pioneers to do insurance videos. And when you do something new and the whole industry is not, sometimes you get naysayers, sometimes you get criticisms, and people boo you, and you cannot really, they didn't really come to my face and boo me, but I can feel like the collective energy is like, are you serious? Like, are you really doing this? You think this can work? Why don't you go back to your cold calling and road shows and door knocking? But I just want to go the opposite direction. I want to just go a different direction. And this award gave me quite a bit of confidence that I am on the right track, because it's recognized by Asia. And so I bite the bullet. All right. And that was Digital Agent of the Year, May 2018. And I saw a spike in my passive business because that award gave me some recognition and attention. All right. And then after that, you see, it led to something else again. So Money Map was for laymen to explain to them the concepts of insurance in plain English. And then when I did that successfully, when I won the what do you call the award, many advisors start to approach me and ask me how I did it. All right, and so I met with advisors one-on-one. I teach them because, you know, to me it's like the universe is abundant, and so there's nothing to hide, and you know, I love to share. All right, the more I share, the more I learn myself, and so I created a series called Dear Advisors. This is targeted to advisors to teach them how to brand themselves, just like what I'm doing right now. All right, and that was my first video on the 12th October 2019, 1 month after my baby was born. So I have no idea why I did that. I'm at the busiest point in my life, but an idea just came in and I just executed on it. But as you can see, one thing led to another. I did not start with video. I started with the next, you know, easiest thing that comes to my mind, and that was selfie, and it led to what it is today. All right, and then the magic happened. I reached 100 passive business in 2019. Yeah, man, 100 business. So, you know, we always talk to our clients about compound interest. I think this is compound interest at work. You know, you may not see the fruits of your labor so soon, but after a certain tipping point, you know, your results all come at one go. All right, and I did another 34 Dear Advisors video from then on. All right, today I have 34 Dear Advisors video and 62 Money Map videos. And one thing I want to summarize this whole thing is what Gary Vaynerchuk famously says, which is macro patience and micro speed. And I'll explain what that means. Is that, you know, on a day-to-day, you are doing things fast, you are executing, you are responding to your clients fast, you're making claims quick, you're meeting as many people as you can, you're working hard. Okay, that's called micro speed. But on a macro level, you get as patient as you can be. As you can see, you know, this wasn't a short journey. It wasn't a short few days or a few months. It was a 7-year journey to get to where I am today. And you know, I attribute a lot to the patience that I have. All right. And in 2019, I would like to share that I also achieved my first $1 million round table. I'm not sure if that's a thing in Latin America, but in Asia or in US, this is a, you know, like a prestigious status for insurance advisors. It represents the top 5 to 10% of insurance agents in the world. And so I qualified for that for the first time in my 7 years. All right. And then I also qualified for it this year as well. All right. So yeah, thank you. And I want to explain a bit into on what is passive business. I classify them into passive referrals, client initiate, friends walk-in, and social media walk-in. Now, what's passive referrals? Passive referrals are referrals that come to you without you asking for it. Referrals that your clients give to you without you asking for it. So you can ask for referrals. Now, that's active referrals. But passive referrals is like your clients can be having lunch with another friend of his, and then suddenly they talk about insurance and your client just refers you without you asking. So that's passive referrals. Clients initiate would be clients wanting to buy insurance and they think of you, they come to you and say, hey, I'd like to do retirement planning. All right, without you asking them, they come to you automatically. Friends walk in will be long lost friends or friends that you have contacted but not interested back then, or friends that you don't even have the guts to approach because you guys were so out of touch. But they saw your social media post. They are, you know, they have grew confidence in you through your post, and they decided to approach you one fine day at the right time and space to approach you. And social media walk-ins would be for people who are total strangers. All right, you don't know them, they don't know you, but they've seen your stuff for a while, and they are confident that you will be a good advisor to them, and they approach you from, you know, a DM or PMs. All right. Okay, so my 2019 scorecard is that I received 100 passive business, as what I mentioned just now, and the breakdown is as such: 58 passive referrals, 24 clients initiate, 10 friends walk in, and 8 social media walk-ins. Now, I just want to, you know, make a quick emphasis that I thought I can create social media presence and attract more social media people or strangers to come and buy from me. But in the end, my clients buy more from me and initiate to refer more people from me than friends walking in and social media strangers walking in. And so I think that's a very interesting phenomenon, and I'd like to share with you. And I really don't mind, because, you know, when clients initiate to buy from me, they even become stronger clients with me. And when clients give me passive referrals, that is like the highest praise that a client can give you. All right, passive referrals without you asking for it. Right, my 2020 scorecard, As of today, I have already 98 passive business. As you can see, I ended off last year, December 31st, with 100 passive referrals. But this year, I've grown in my referral game, my passive game. And this is the breakdown. So similar to what you see just now, predominantly passive referrals and clients initiate. And that's because also whenever I create the video, I will blast it on WhatsApp to them. I'll broadcast to them, and so they are in the know, and so I always keep myself in their radar. All right, I create videos like once every 2 weeks or once every 3 weeks, and so they'll always see me popping up in their messages once in a while. Now they don't watch my videos, just to let you know. 90% of my clients confess that they don't watch my videos. Okay, and I ask them why you don't watch, and it's because they say, oh, because you are here. If I have anything, I can ask you, so I don't really have to watch your video. And I take that graciously. All right. And I understand that not every topic would appeal to them. But by being in their radar already creates that connection between insurance and yourself. And the next time they think about insurance, the next time they think about, they talk about insurance with their colleagues over lunch, they will bring up your name, right? Okay, then the golden rule of business I would like to bring in is that all things being equal, people will do business with and refer business to those people they know, like, and trust. And this is adapted from the Go Giver book, which, in my opinion, is the number one book in the number one business book in the world. All right, I read quite a bit of self-help book, but the Go Giver book is written in such a way that it's a narrative, it's a story, but it explains the rule of giving in such simple ways that it changed my life forever. And so this is one segment or one phrase that they mention. People must know you, like you, and trust you in order to give you business. All right, and so the reason why I'm doing social media is because I want people to know me. Right, I cannot be a secret agent. I must be an insurance agent. I must be proud of what I'm doing. I must put myself out there so people know me, and through my sharing of my videos, people like me because of the content that I'm putting out with no strings attached. Now, I need to emphasize that when you're trying to bring value, you must give without expectations. You cannot give with the expectation of trying to get from them. All right, you must give freely, give without expectation, no strings attached, and they can feel it through your video. And with that, they like you, and maybe they even trust you because it seems like you know what you're doing, and they come to you. All right, and yeah, that's been the essence of my video. In my videos, I never ever say at the end of the video to DM me or PM me to find out more. I put down all the information I can in the video, and I just let them take it wherever they want to go. If they want to take this information and buy from someone else, so be it. Okay, but if they take this video, and they eventually come to me, I'm pumped, right? I'll be very happy. All right, but if they don't do so, it's fine. So that's the attitude that I have behind creating those videos. I really just want to bring value to the marketplace and nothing else. All right, I leave everything else will fall into its own place when you just bring value first. All right. Right, and as mentioned, I'm 100% on passive referrals and assisting clients now. I don't have to look for clients anymore. I stopped hunting, right, because I'm already very busy servicing my existing clients, and my existing clients giving me referrals on their own accord. And so I think, like what I mentioned just now, the golden rule of business is that they must like you and trust you. And I believe why people like you and trust you is because, I think very importantly, they feel safe with you. Now, if we approach every single appointment or every single prospect or every single networking event that we want to sell to them, people will run away from salespeople. Don't you agree? Right? People don't like to be sold. They like to buy, but they don't like to be sold. And so if you, at every encounter, if every time you talk to them, every time you open your mouth, you want to sell them, now they don't feel safe with you. And if they don't feel safe with you, they cannot open up enough to trust you, to tell you more things about themselves. And so you cannot diagnose properly, and you cannot earn yourself a sale. And so I think to make people feel safe, to give them a safety net, all right, it's very important. And so I always make them feel very safe, very secure. I never rush them, just take it at their pace, all right? Of course, I lead them, all right, and not take their own sweet time. But if they're not ready at this point in time, I won't rush them. I will say, let's do a review next year then. All right. And The reason why I can do that is because I put their interests first. I really believe that good salespeople puts other people's interests first. It's being it's a fine line between a selfish intent and a selfless intent. All right. So if you can be selfless, putting people's interests first and putting 100% of their interest first, not to say that you are, cutting back on yourself. You are suspending your own interest, okay, for them, because you have faith that when you put their interests first, your interest will be taken care of ultimately. You have to have that faith that when you put 100% of their interest first, your own interest will be taken care of ultimately, and you don't have to control that. Let the universe take care of that. All right, you just put other people's interests first. And why you can do that is because, you don't sell. You come from a place of serve. All right, when you serve people, you're not trying to sell them. All right, when you sell people, you're not necessarily trying to, when you focus predominantly on selling people, you're not really serving them. Rather, you're serving your own interest. All right, and why you can have the attitude is because you're not coming from an attitude of giving. You're coming from an attitude of you're not coming from an attitude of getting. You're coming from an attitude of giving. So I think if you have the giver's mindset, you just want to give 100% of value to people, just bring value to people and nothing else, with no expectations, no strings attached, then you can come from a place of serving instead of selling. And then when you serve with every inch of your soul, every cell in your soul, other people can feel that you put their interests first, and they feel safe with you because you're not trying to sell them, you're trying to serve them, and they open up to you, they like you, they trust you, and that's where I feel that you can get your business up to an attraction level. All right. Okay. And if you're right now not experiencing any, clients referring you, or your clients not giving you repeated business, just like some pockets of my journey, I don't get that. Instead of, blaming your clients, I take a look within myself, right? If you are blaming the client, oh, my clients are not referring, I'm giving so much value, I'm putting so much for this client, I'm giving all my best, my 110%, but my client just doesn't want to refer to me, doesn't want to give me repeated business. Now, what you're trying to do right now is that you're focusing on the fruits, which happen to be the effect, where you should be looking at the roots, which is the cause. Okay, and now to look at the cause instead of the effect, it's just a fine line between whether you have enough humility or not. Humility means, like you can honestly look into yourself and reflect, have you given enough value, true value in the first place for them to do that? If they are not, then why would they give you referrals? Why would they give you repeated business? Are you a good advisor in the first place? Do you make them feel safe? Do they trust you? Do they like you enough? Are you really serving their interest, or honestly speaking, you're serving your own interest? Are you coming from a place of giving, or coming from a place of getting? Right? So ask yourself these honest questions, and you will find the answers that, hey, maybe I'm not really there yet. I need to align my attitude to a place of giving, and then you see miracle happens. All right. So I just want to share this quote, which is, the deeper the roots, the greater the fruits. And so if you have a sour apple, you don't blame it on the apple, you blame it in the roots, right? The roots are not, well nourished, and hence you get sour apples. And once you properly nourish your roots, you give the roots the right nutrients, the right breeding ground, okay, the right amount of water, okay, the right climate, then what happens is that your fruit, your apple, will automatically be sweet. Does that make sense? All right. So the word is humility, to look into yourself to see if you're doing a good job in the first place. Now, I admit that I don't do a good job all the time, but I always look into myself and reflect and try to do a better job next time. All right. Okay. And, it's not about chasing after a sales goal. I never believe in chasing after a sales goal. I believe in chasing after a better version of yourself. Now, many people, are just chasing after MDRTs, or in your case, it may not be MDRT, it might be a sales target. But like Village Boy A, chasing after something is never sustainable. You chase one whole year till 31st December, and what happens? You have to restart the whole year and start chasing again. we become self-employed because we want to get out of the rat race, but we end up back in the rat race because we end up chasing targets, chasing numbers. And so I think that's something that's not sustainable. And when you chase numbers, unknowingly or subconsciously, you become a bit more pushy because you have, more of the numbers in mind than the person, right? Instead of playing the people's game, you are playing the numbers game, right? So it's a fine line in between a people's game and a numbers game. And if you tilt more towards the numbers game, the people can feel it, and that's why maybe they're not referring or giving you repeated business. And so stop chasing after numbers. Rather, what you can do is that chase after a better version of yourself. If you feel that you're not good enough, you're not competent enough, go and learn. All right, go and speak to top advisors, go and take up courses, CFP, for example, to up your skill sets. All right. And try to put yourself out there, on social media, so that people can see you, people can get to know you. Put your content out there, your best advice for free. All right, becoming a better version of yourself every single day, which is infinite, because there will never be a time where you'll be the best version of yourself. You always strive for even better version than yesterday. All right, and I let my goals, which is MDRT or any sales target, be just a checkpoint for myself. All right, my goals are my checkpoints. They're not my end goal. They're just checkpoints. My end goal is infinite, which is a better version of myself. And this is in line with what Simon Sinek has mentioned in his Infinite Game book, which is why you using infinite mindset to run an infinite game. Now, in our insurance business, it's an infinite game. We're not going to retire anytime soon. We're probably going to retire at 65, playing the insurance in the insurance business. And so why are we so fixated on the end of the year goal, where our timeline is only 10 months, 12 months, to hit a certain target, and then we reset for the year and start to run again for the same goal? I think that's quite mad to think about it. Yeah. So why not you chase after instead a better version of yourself and let your goals manifest as a natural byproduct of your improvement? Does it make sense? All right. So instead of you chasing after goal, let your goals chase after you. Okay. Yep. That's the end of my sharing. I have put in a QR code down here so that we can be connected. So if you like what I just shared, I would really love to connect with you. All right. I know we are 12 hours apart, but yeah, man, it's been a privilege to share with you. I promise the organizers to keep at least 15 minutes for Q&A, and I think I'm on track. So you can scan, whip up your phones and scan this QR code. I'm very predominantly active on Facebook and Instagram. And so if you want to chat with me, you can drop me a DM on Instagram. I'll be happy to be in touch. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jiale. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you, Marcelo.
And for sharing your journey with us today. That's so good to hear that. So, by the way, Limra has partnered with the Asia Insurance Review on the Trusted Agents and Advisors Awards, with which you were awarded in 2018. So, congrats from our end, on the behalf of LLG, the group. Thank you very much for all your efforts on that and success. That's so great. Congrats for that. So
thank you, Marcelo.
We are now. That's great. So we are now going to begin answering some questions, Jiale, as we planned it. So our first question for you today is, if you were to summarize in 3 top tips for a better connection with possible customers, what would these tips be? Just try to put in just 3 top tips how to connect with possible customers.
3 top tips to connect with better customers, with potential customers?
Yes, with potential customers.
I would say, well, what worked for me was creating content and putting them out there. Really neutral content, giving your best advice for free with no strings attached. People like to feel safe. Even consuming content, people like to feel safe. People don't like to be led into thinking that, at the end of the video, I'm going to be sold. And so if you can create content and keep them in a broadcast, for example, that will increase your chance of connecting with the client sometime in the future. So that's one, creating content. Number 2, I think, is to make them feel safe and differentiate yourself by not trying to sell them at the very first instance that you meet them. All right, I think that is something that turns people off. I'm not sure if the people there feels that way, but in Asia, definitely, like if you try to sell them at the first instance, people usually gets very turned off. That's the second one, feel safe. Third one would be wow, potential customers, connect with put yourself on social media. I think that would be my last advice. Creating content and broadcast to them. Number two, make them feel safe, okay, by not trying to sell them at the very first instance or any instance, because everyone has their own time and space. And last but not least is to make yourself present on social media. Now, social media can, if I can add on, Marcelo, is that it is not a fad. Social media is not a fad. It's not like, oh, like it's gonna, okay, social media one day is gonna go away. Social media is just the current way humans communicate right now. Okay, and if social media was to go away one day and we will move on to VR or AR, then our role is to evolve together and move there. Where the attention goes. Now the attention is on social media. I think we should put ourselves on social media.
Good, just great tips. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
We have a few more questions here. So the second question is, Jiale, how do you identify who is ready to buy?
Wow, how do I identify who is ready to buy?
Yeah.
Well, very explicitly, if people approach you, that means they are more or less ready to buy. I mean, in my current state of business, like I say, I don't hunt for people anymore. All right, so I don't have to, ask, questions, ask leading questions to find out if they are ready to buy. People who are ready to buy usually now come and chat up with me and say, hey, can I find out more about this? Can I find out more about that? And the beautiful thing about the attraction game is that once you are at the attraction level, you never have to know whether a certain person is ready to buy or not.
Okay.
Yep. If you are in the hunting game, if you're in the hunting mindset, I think that is a very relevant question, because you're always trying to look for people and trying to sense if they are ready to buy, right? But if you are in the hunting, attracting mindset, you're putting yourself out there and just waiting for the right time and space for people to approach you. And when people approach you, they are ready to buy.
Okay, makes sense. And so you're gonna serve that person, as you mentioned. So that's the key strategy there, right? Mm-hmm. That's good. One more question here. What's your advice for managers to help their agents or advisors to embrace these new ideas?
What's my advice to financial advisors and their leaders to embrace this idea?
For managers to help their agents. So the idea is for a leader of an agency, what would be your advice here so they can help their advisors to embrace those new ideas you just mentioned?
I think it's for the leaders to lead themselves in social media, to start creating content themselves, to lead the way, and so they can inspire their advisors to do the same.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Like before in Singapore, there weren't many advisors doing videos, but after people start to see the success of it, many people hopped onto the bandwagon, and so I think leaders have to lead first, and leaders eat last, yes, but leaders have to lead first, lead the way. And if you want to convince your advisors to do so, you have to start the ball rolling yourself.
And lead by example, always, right?
Of course.
Good. A few more questions for you, Jiale.
Sure.
Let's go. Next one. What are your prospect? What they like more? The prospects like more about your sales approach. What do you think it's something that they really like about it?
Okay. This is something that I can answer instantly because I pride myself in my sales process. I always tell my clients at the very beginning, or my prospect at the very beginning, that I operate on a three-part appointment basis. All right. The first appointment, I will just bring a notebook, okay, and fact find and ask everything about themselves, and to ask a lot of questions so that I can bring these data points and this information to make my relevant recommendations. So I don't sell on the first appointment. I communicate to them that in the first appointment, I'll just ask a lot of questions about you, find out more about yourself. You can ask me questions about myself as well, and then we'll take it to the second appointment. Okay. Now the second appointment, I will tell them before I meet you, I will already send you my recommendations via email, so that you can at least take a look at what I am going to propose or recommend to you. You can prepare some questions for me if you have, and then we can run through these questions or these recommendations in a greater efficiency, or more effective. We can have a more effective appointment the second time we meet. And so I want to create a transparency, all right, and a safe zone for them that, hey, we're taking this at a good pace, okay? Because I think what I'm trying to emphasize is I'm trying to go in for the open. I'm not trying to go in for the close. There's a difference between trying to go in for the closure of the sale versus going in to open up the person. Now, I believe that behind every person, there are tons of repeated business that this person can give you. There are tons of referrals that this person can give you. Now, if you just focus on going in for the close, you may have closed this person so fast that you have not built a relationship, and then this person will not, be so interested to give you referrals or repeat business with you. And so I make sure that I communicate that I have the 3-part process. And then the last part, the last appointment, I tell him that it's usually the follow-through appointment. If everything is okay and we have done some tweaks to the recommendations and you're fine, this is where we do the health declaration and we process the application. And so I let them know upfront that this is what they can expect, and then we go through it accordingly. And so I don't need to learn closing techniques, or I don't need to memorize closing scripts, because I already tell them at the front, I already plant a seed in their minds that they're gonna go through the process with me in the third appointment. And we're gonna go through recommendations in a second, and today I'm just gonna find out more about you. And so with that, people tend to just follow through.
That's great.
Just one last thing, because of the 3-part appointments, I get to have more face time with this prospect, and I build deeper relationship than if advisor were to close this prospect in first appointment.
So let me just jump here. So we have one question from the audience. That is, do you have ideas how to sell to the millennials?
Do I have ideas how to sell to the millennials? I'm considered a millennial myself, I guess.
Probably you know better than anyone. So give us some ideas from your experience, at least from some of the process that you pass through in terms of sales, etc.
I guess we don't like to be top down, right? We have Google at hand, and we can do our own research. And what we need is an advisor and not a salesperson. You get what I mean? Like an advisor that gives us advice and tell us, tell us matter of fact, factually, what we need to do. Give us a few recommendations, and we'll pick one. All right, and not just force one on us, or assume that this is the best one for us, and going for an assumed close. We generally don't like that.
Okay, next. I think we have a few more. So, where, in fact, the question: what would be your recommendation of where to start? What would be the first step to take? Because there's that's new for a lot of us. So, what would be the first step to take?
Can I ask you, Marcelo? Do many advisors in Latin America take photos with their clients and post testimonials? Do you see that very often?
Yeah. No.
Okay, that's already happening.
Sometimes happen. It depends a lot, but yeah, it happens. It has some testimonies, but it's not that common. I would say it doesn't that common, especially on the social media.
Understand, and so I think we can start off with that. We can really start off with that. Like how you eat an elephant is one bite at a time, right?
Got it.
And so if I was to begin my social media with videos, I think I'll be overwhelmed myself. But I did what I thought was reasonable at that point in time, which is just to whip up my phone and then to take a selfie or take photo with my clients, ask for testimonials, which is entirely free, and I can do it anytime. And I put it on my social media, I tag them, and people get to see, and I really start to kickstart the traction game rolling. And if you hear from my story, one thing led to another. Right? The reason why I'm here sharing at the virtual conference is because of the conference that I shared in Bangkok, where Megan saw me. And the reason why I was there because I won the awards. The reason why I won awards was because I did the videos. And so one thing connect to another. And so you have to start off, you just need to start off with somewhere simple, keep it consistent. And then the next idea, the next step will be reviewed to you down the road.
Okay, it's good. Good tips. Okay. I think we have time for one final question here. So at least one more. So the question is, did you have any advice in this journey from the insurance companies? What is their importance and role in this building moment for the Salesforce expectations?
Wow, this is a tough question. Do I have any advice for insurance companies? To the second part of the question is?
Did you have any advice in this journey from insurance companies, first of all? And what is their importance and role in this building moment for the Salesforce expectation? So I think it's what's the part of the how important is insurance company in this process, and how they can help this?
Wow. I think that's a good one. I think are there compliance team in the insurance companies there? They are, right? Yeah, I think one thing is that the compliance team have to be a bit more lenient when it comes to social media posting and contents of their advisors, because we face a bit of compliance issues here. Like having a lot of red tapes and what to do, what cannot be done. And so if you give the advisors the do's and don'ts up front, give them a structure or skeleton to follow, they can use their creativity and take off. And so people don't want to give the wrong advice. I'm sure insurance companies don't want to be implicated if their advisors give the wrong advice online. But at the same time, insurance companies need to give the freedom and let their advisors be creative when it comes to creating content, because that's the way to go. We're not going back to newspapers anymore. We are only going forward. All right. So the compliance team, if they can, has to work out something for their advisors to go creative. And so I think that's really a very big role that the insurance companies can help their advisors.
Okay, good.
Yeah, man.
And I think we have one more minute, and let's try to quickly answer this final question. Can you tell us if you have had a claim with a client, and how did you deal with that moment? Just this post-sale experience here.
Okay. I only have half an experience, I would say, because it wasn't a client of mine, but back in I think 2015, one of a client that I just took over from my leader, because he doesn't want to service him anymore, so he passed it down to me. I just took over his servicing for a week or two, and then he passed on. And we did a claim of $500,000, and yeah, man, like so my leader and I were processing the claim for him, and it really makes me feel that insurance is very important, because this guy only bought $500,000, which is certainly not enough for the widow and the child who was at the time 5-year-old. And yeah, man, like I saw the widow, cry in front of us, and she didn't have a very good relationship with the mother-in-law, and everything was just ugly. And if it's very real. Like what we do is very real and noble, right?
And you can see how important it is, right? Yeah, in this moment.
Important, right? Yeah. And if I can turn back time, I would, probably propose to him a bigger insurance instead of just $500,000. $500,000 is small in today's time.
Okay. Good, Jiale. I think that's all the time we have today, and so thank you so much, Jiale, for joining us and sharing this information.